Hello, and welcome to the Notary Life with Kimmi Podcast. I am also one of the trainers with Notary Educators, which includes myself, Kimberly Nunnally, Angela Johnson, and Alexis Franklin. We each own our own very successful notary businesses and teach notaries in all 50 states to be great and grow their own business. We will discuss general notary work, apostilles, ink fingerprinting, and the duties of a notary signing agent, and much, much more. For all of your notary needs, please visit notaryeducatorsllc.com. We hope you enjoy the show, and we wish you much success. Hello, and welcome to Notary Life with Kimmi. I am here with Jeff, part of the Notary Educators training team. Alexis and Angela could not make it tonight. However, we are here to hold down the fort. Welcome.
Hey,
Welcome to those who will be on the podcast also, and those who are here live. Jeffrey, introduce yourself.
Hey, everyone. This is Jeff, the part of Notary Educators. Good to see everyone this evening, and glad to have you. Make sure you're taking care of yourself over the next few days. Of course, we're hearing that the weather is supposed to be bad all around, but just good to have you here this evening.
Yeah, so we'll give YouTube a few minutes to notify people that we are live. Tonight's topic is going to be really good. It's going to be great for your business as well as your personal life. We're going to be talking about taxes, 20 tax tips that notaries need to know. And not just notaries, this is for any business owner, okay? Any business owner. I decided to go ahead and put it on this channel because I did promise over here, but I also have a business channel, and I probably will either kind of redo this or do a similar video for my business channel, which, like I said, these tax things we're going to talk about tonight are for everyone. How's everybody doing out there? What's up? So we'll give another couple seconds and then we're going to get started because it's quite a bit of information. And if someone misses something, they can always go back and catch the replay. Oops, I dropped my ink pen. Sorry. They can catch the replay. All right. So we do have people here. We are going to get started. So tonight, again, we are talking about 20 different tax things that we need to be aware of. And if you don't know what to write off on your taxes and you say, oh, I'll just leave it to my tax person to know. Believe me, knowledge is power. You need to know what are some of your deductibles and not just rely on your tax person. Jeffrey and I had a situation where we needed to know. You guys heard me talk about that last year. Taxes was very intense over here for us. Very, very intense. So needless to say, now I know all about taxes. I know about S Corp, LLC, and all of that. We are not accountants. So let's go ahead and give that full disclaimer. We are not accountants. Please refer back to your accountant and your tax professional. However, because we've been through a few things, we definitely know how to just kind of guide you and give you a little suggestions. Okay. So, hey, Roberta, how are you? I know trying to stay warm, right? It is cold everywhere. Lansing, Illinois. I know you guys got some snow up that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all be careful out there. It's cold here. I actually was able to walk around without my jacket today in Georgia, but I had on long sleeves. So I had a double shirt kind of layered down. Hey, Regina.
Hey, welcome. Regina. And Donna, Miss Donna.
Yes, welcome. Now, unfortunately, Facebook, we probably won't be able to get to you because it's a lot of information. And Jeffrey doesn't have Facebook, so he's not able to access it, okay? So please forgive us in advance. But if you want to be a part of the conversation, come on over to the YouTube channel, okay? Hey, JB and Shelly. All right, let's get going, guys. So the first thing, hey, Katrina, the first thing we want to talk about when it comes to writing off your taxes, things to think about, and there are 20. Hey, Frank, don't forget to hit the like button. Every time I see Frank's name, it reminds me. All right, number one is office expenses, okay? Office expenses. Now, most of us are mobile notaries, so we don't have an office. But if you do have an office, you want to think about writing off your rent, your utilities, your supplies. That might even be your bathroom supplies. In my Texas notaries, you have to rent an office space or rent usually from an attorney or a title office or something if you're doing a Texas cash out refi. So you may be able to write that off if the company's not covering the expense and you have to pay that out of pocket. Because I frequently get that question. Well, I have to pay for this. Yeah, some things we have to pay for, but then that's why tax time roll around. You need to know what you can write off as a deduction. Jeffrey, you want to hit number 2 for us?
Yeah, so number 2 is business related travel expenses. So that means if when you go for a meal, you're staying at a hotel, for your gas, those things like that, or renting a car, those are things that you want to keep be mindful of. That when you're talking with your tax person and you have that document, most people, they use some sort, whether using your debit card or your business card, that you can keep track of your expenses so that you can give them a pretty close dollar amount when tax time comes. So you have to be, so if you have a business card that once you started your business, and that way you can separate your expenses, and you want to make sure that you're using that card or account in order to keep track of your expenses, as opposed to commingling it with that and your personal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I actually just filmed a video for the business channel about having a separate business account. So if you're not subscribed to Business Life with Kimmi, guys, please check it out, because it doesn't matter what business you are in. We are growing businesses, okay? And it's tips that you can use across whatever you're doing, lawn care, daycare, notary, whatever, okay, on the business channel. So we're going to kind of bypass the comments for now, guys. We do see you, but we really want to make sure we hit all 20, and then we're going to come back, take your questions and your comments, okay? So number 3 is advertising and marketing expenses, websites, business cards, flyers, all of that is possibly a tax deduction for you. So when you talk about your GoDaddy, setting that up, because Google the Google free website is going away, and eventually you will need a website. Don't worry, you do need the money up front, but you'll be able to write it back off on your taxes. And around tax time, you're going to be looking for deductions. Believe me when I tell you, you are going to be looking for deductions. So that's something you can write off on your taxes. Now, don't go out and just create excessive spending patterns or extra debts and stuff so you can write it off. But if it's something you're going to be using anyway, then it's a write-off, okay? Your business cards, your flyers. Jeffrey, number 4 for us?
Yeah, so number 4 is dealing with home expenses or home office expenses. So that would mean you could depending on where you live at and the amount, I guess it would deal with like your mortgage or rent, anything dealing with your utilities. If you're using, your electricity for gas and for lights, if you're using your home base or your home office for that, then you want to keep track of that also, so that you can write it off for your taxes. So again, keep them separated so that you'll be able to tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, so for those of you who are just joining us, we're going to go recap 1 through 4, and then we'll continue. 1 through 4 is office expenses, business-related travel, advertising and marketing, and home office. And one more back under business-related. Sometimes, guys, and you have to do a little homework on this one, but if you're traveling for business, for example, let's say Thursday through Friday, if you can extend that stay out a little bit, and come back maybe I think on Monday or Tuesday, you may be able to, get a little personal in there too. So you just have to know all your laws and make sure you stand within the legal limits so you don't get audited and you're always doing things the correct way, okay?
Right.
Number 5 is continuing education and professional development expenses. And what do we mean by that? The training courses that you take with us or other notary trainers or whatever training. It might be training on Google or whatever training you're taking, you are able to perhaps write that off under professional development. And I know I bought a course this year about immigration.
Oh, last year.
That course. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you did immigration. Was it last year? Was it last year? Or this year?
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
It was
last
last
year.
year. It was in
Yeah.
24. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
23.
remember that bill. So anyway,
Yeah, it was pretty out there.
yeah.
Yeah, for me
Mhm.
not to have did anything with it, and that's by choice. I started immigration, but I don't know. Yeah, that's another topic.
Well, that's going on
Um,
the list though, for sure.
yeah, but definitely it's a tax deduction for us because I did pay for the course, and so think about anything you're doing with continuing ed is also a tax write off. Okay. Or possible. I got to say possible so I don't get sued. Jeffrey, number 6.
Yeah, number 6 deals with any fees for like state licensing and your notary bond. So if you need to, depending on where you live at, if there's certain fees regarding your licensing to be a notary for your office, then you want to keep track of that. Obviously, if you're for your insurance, your notary bond insurance, you want to keep track of that, so that, or add that to your list of expenses that can be deducted.
Yes. So that $45 fee or $50 fee, some states it's even a little bit more, $100 to become a notary. That also is something that you could think about writing off on your taxes. Okay. Your notary bond. All states do not require a bond. Just for those of you who do not know, the notary bond covers the client, but notary error and assurance. I'm sorry. The notary bond covers the client, but errors and omissions insurance covers the notary. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just so you can know. And that's also a tax deduction. Okay. Number 7.
Is it
Number
7? Mm-hmm.
7 is, yeah, number 7 is the notary journal and stamp expenses. Okay. So your journal is also a tax write-off. You want to make sure you keep a receipt. And Jeffrey is really diligent about that. Can you tell them how, and your stamp, your actual physical stamp, your embosser that I highly recommend you have, even though I always get a lot of pushback every time I mention the embosser. Somebody tells me, Kimmi, we don't need an embosser. My state say we don't need it. Other notaries tell me we don't need it. If you want to stand out, you need it. I have about several videos, like 2 videos about embossers. But Jeffrey, can you explain to the people what is your accounting method when it comes to keeping track of stuff on Amazon that we purchased?
Yeah, so on Amazon, whenever we purchase anything for the business, regarding like journals, like Kim just had to buy a journal the other day. So I made sure to say, hey, make sure you use the business account. And then when it comes to your stamps, depending on your state, excuse me, then you can keep track of the number of times that you actually stamp. For here in Georgia, it's every stamp is $2, so that we keep track of that. So I write that in my journal, and as I'm going back to do my bookkeeping, to upload it into, because we use Notary Gadget for the notary, anything dealing with the notary, meaning where the job was at, the traffic, the travel distance from my home base to where we went to and on the way back. All of those things can be tabulated and used as a tax deduction. But then when I am going through, and what makes it good is that as I'm going through not only the journal or anything dealing with expenses, then I can go through Amazon, because that's why we purchase a lot of our things through Amazon, and I can confirm what it is, and I can keep track of all of those expenses. And I know, okay, I purchased this on such and such a day, the dollar amount, and I can give that to our tax person.
Mm-hmm. And use my affiliate link for all of your notary supplies at Notary Educators, LLC.com. We have a whole list of recommended supplies that we use. And as you always know, we never give you the most expensive, but we always make sure we try to find the quality products that we actually use in our business. So check out our notary supply list at Notary Educators, LLC.com. Thank you, Jeffrey. And then number 8 is liability insurance premiums. So if you have general liability insurance, anything extra besides the errors and omission insurance, some people choose to get that. And you may wonder, well, why do I need general liability insurance if I have the notary errors and omission insurance? The errors and omission insurance covers you every time you're stamping a document. in the role of a notary, but the general liability would cover you in case you're at a signing and you hit the mailbox, or you run over the cat's tail, or you accidentally step on the dog's tail or something like that. Okay. Or you break something in a client's house. Anything can happen, really. So those insurance premiums, though, are normally tax deductible. Number 9, Jeffrey.
Your number 9 that's going to be dealing with your telephone and internet expenses that's related to business use. So you have to check with your tax person. What's the percentage into all of that? I don't know, but you want to keep track of that. And also, if you may have your own, you may have 2 phones. Some people have 2 phones. If you use one phone that's strictly for your business or a business line, then you want to keep track of that. But if you have 2 phones and you use just for business, obviously that is going to be put into throw that in the pot, as it were, as for your expenses. But keep track of those things, because obviously we all have to have internet in order to be able to get from point A to point B, as far as GPS on our phones and all and what have you. So keep track of that as well, and make sure that you bring that up to your tax person. Like I said, it might be a certain percentage that can be a tax deducted.
And that's why when we had the conversation the other day about, do we charge people when they come to the house for printing services and scanning and all that? Yes, because it costs us something. Internet, you don't think about it. You say, oh, it's just I have internet anyway. But no, that's a fee, and you're looking for things to offset your fees. So we do need to start charging a little bit more for all these little different things that we talk about. I know some people will get all in a tizzy and, well, you charge for this, you charge for that. Well, it's the way it's presented. Like I said the other day, I like to give like one little flat rate for everything. But the more services that they ask for, sure, I can scan for you. That'll be $5. Sure, I can print for you. So we want to look at all of our expenses too. So number 10 is our automobile expenses related to the business, mileage, gas, and maintenance. I'm going to let Jeffrey talk about all of those, but I want to hit one of them because he mentioned it earlier. When you are counting your mileage, guys, do not forget. So, for example, I leave my home. I drive 30 miles to the signer's house, right? Then I drive 30 miles back to my house, right? And then within those 60 miles, I had to go to FedEx, which is another 10 miles either way. So you want to count your mileage from your home to your signer to the FedEx back. You see what I mean? A whole loop. You want to count all of that. Sometimes we forget to add that FedEx stop in there. So you need to make sure you have all of that recorded in your journal. And that's why your journal is so important. Okay, Jeffrey, can you talk a little bit to how important the gas part, the maintenance, is related to taxes, like keeping up with all of that?
You want to keep track of, if you're doing, we don't call it tune-up nowadays, but any maintenance, your tires or obviously your gas, you keep track of that. Any repairs that you want that are being done to your vehicle, you want to keep track of that. And I'll touch back again with Notary Gadget. If you're doing a job or multiple jobs during the course of the day, and when I'm keying it in, for example, so what this is doing bookkeeping. So I'm sitting here at the computer and I'm entering each job that I've done, and I do it maybe once a week. Sometimes I'm behind. So, whatever length of time that you do, whether it's every week, every 2 weeks, or what have you. So I'm entering in my the actual job, and I put the address. That's why you want to put, and that's the journal that we have. It gives us you can put the actual address where you did your signing at. So let's say I had a couple of jobs during the course of that day. The Notary Gadget will say, okay, you was over here, you left home, you went to this job, and now I see that you put another address and it's the same day. Well, are you going to include that in your mileage? Then I will tell it yes. So I'm keeping track, and by the time, and then eventually it's a loop back to my home base. So make sure you keep track of that, where you went to, where your signing address. You may not necessarily remember, sometimes if it's someplace in your area, like we go to certain locations and I know where the address is, I'll just put the name of the place and then I'll go back and check the address. but make sure you keep track of all of those things, and particularly with your vehicle, any maintenance that you do, brakes, tires, things like that, oil change. Keep track of those things to see if those can be included for your expenses, your tax expenses.
And Notary Gadget runs about $8.99 per month, but it's so worth the investment because the first couple years we did our notary business, we did not use it. And it was a disaster.
I tried to do a spreadsheet. I was trying to do a spreadsheet, and I'm like, okay, it's got to be something better than this. It's got to be something better, because this is not working, because there were too many unanswered questions, things that we needed to keep track of. And I had to keep adding another cell, another row, or another row. I'm like, okay, this is not working. So I don't know how you came across Notary Gadget.
I knew what the solution was, but I was trying to be cheap. I'm always trying to be cheap.
Okay, yeah.
And we ended up getting Notary Gadget, and it was life-changing for us, as well as our accountant that we had at the time. He was like, wow, what are you using? And we told him it was something designed for a notary. So I do have an affiliate link for Notary Gadget. Please check it out. Jeffrey, can you this is a client. Can you handle number 11, please? And I'll be back.
Yeah. So the next one is dealing with health insurance premiums for self-employed individuals. So if you're self-employed, obviously you have to pay your own insurance. So you want to keep track of that, because that can be included. Your HSA, things like that. Make sure that when you're talking with your tax person, that you're including that in your expenses. So if you're paying something every month, if it's quarterly, however you're paying it, keep track of those things so that you can turn that in, so that can be included. And also, another tax person mentioned just recently, when it comes to Social Security, make sure, he called me specific and said, hey, this was like last week before last. He said, Jeff, make sure that you're keeping track, that you tell your tax person to account for your Social Security if you're self-employed. Now, if you have another job, then obviously that's already taken care of for you. But if you're self-employed, all of those things, you got to keep up with all of those things. So if you don't keep up with your Social Security, he was mentioning, then later on, then that's going to come back and bite you. It may seem like you're paying low on taxes now, but down the road, that's where it can be a problem. So make sure that you keep track of your health insurance premiums. Now, and that goes into the next one, number 12, which is your retirement plan contributions, which is the same thing. So your 401k, things like that, your IRA, keep track of all of those things, because that, again, is all included. And when you're working at a regular job or W-2 per se, those things are already done for you. And at the end of the year, you just, it's already calculated for you. But when you're self-employed, those are things that you really want to keep on top of, so that you know what's going on. Okay. Let's see here. The next one is accounting and bookkeeping fees. So when you meet with your tax person, if you do it quarterly and they're calling, asking for a fee, you keep track of that, so that you are able to, at the end of your, the year or the beginning of the next year, when it's time for taxes, you can put all that in the same bucket and keep track of those things. Kim, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah. So those are some other expenses, and we're just mentioning these things because as you're doing your taxes, you don't know what you don't know. And then you find out later on, after the fact, oh, you could have accounted for this, or you could have deducted for that. And then you're like, oh, the tax laws are there for your benefit, and we're not talking about cheating. We're just talking about keeping track of what can be deducted. And as a business owner, there are different things, a lot of things that over the course of the few years that we didn't know that we can keep track of. So that's number 13. The number, you want to do number 14, Kim, the legal fees?
You can continue. Go ahead.
Okay. So number 14, we've got legal fees related to business activity. So if you got to deal with a lawyer, anything like that, again, Keep track of those things so that you mention that to your tax person, because sometimes they're not going to ask you. But if you have those documented, and if you're using, for example, maybe QuickBooks, or you're using Zero, which is what we use, if you're using those types of tax programs, you can include that with tax with I'm sorry, with Zero and with QuickBooks. If you set it up right, it should pull those expenses, and you put in what account you want to pull in, and all you're doing is just reconciling. So every week or two, depending on however you do it, and you go back through there and you confirm. I like, for example, we use Zero, and we could say we can add, let's say, Amazon or whatever other entities that we use, or companies that we use on a regular basis for our business. So when those expenses come through, then it will learn and say, okay, all you have to do is just say, okay, others, you may have to manually key it in. And the next time it sees it, when it's pulled in from the bank, then you're able to just reconcile and say, this is correct, and keep on moving. The next one is number 50.
Can I talk about one more thing
okay,
there?
I'm sorry.
With the legal fees, a lot of you are purchasing, like, what is that? That monthly fee thing, to have access to a lawyer. I can't think of the name of it right this second. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Be careful, because again, I don't want you just buying junk. And I'm not saying this is junk. Let me rephrase that. I don't want you just buying stuff because you say, I can write it off of my taxes. I can write it off of my taxes. If it's not something that you actually need and are using, we still do not want to just waste our money. Okay. Legal Shield. Thank you, Dorinda. And I see Miss Terry says that Notary Gadget is now $11.95 per month. So I'm gonna still say it's worth it. I still use it. Prepaid lawyers, yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So yeah, don't buy things just because you can write it off in your taxes. If you don't need it, you don't need it. We're not looking for deductions like that. Okay. And I've never had Legal Shield or any of those, so I can't speak to them. I know a couple of people that have had it, and they didn't get the success that they were looking for. I think a lot of people think you can just call and get an attorney for $29 a month. And we all know that probably doesn't work like that. Okay. Next, you want to keep going, Jeffrey?
We have the postage. Do we do that?
Yes, we're on 15.
15, yes. So we have postage and shipping expenses. So if you send off mail to different places, some people still use mail, as far as like paying your bills, what have you. If you do that, keep track of that, and it's for your business. If you're doing apostilles, then you have to take certain things that may need to be shipped off by FedEx or what have you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you keep track of it, because we keep that when it comes to Zero, that comes through, and I'm able to make, reconcile that. So when you're all of those things, particularly when it comes to postage, keep track of those things, what you're doing. And that's the reason why, if you're using, in opposed to using cash, if you're using, a card or a business card, then it'll be a lot easier to keep track of your different expenses.
And along with that, now most of our apostille fees are going to go back to the client. Most of them are going to go back to the client. So that means, like, if you're shipping the document to Arizona, the client is paying that fee. You're not paying it, just for clarification. But there may be any number of things that are associated with trying to complete the apostille that would have additional fees as a notary, like Jeffrey was saying, anything, with postage and shipping. Most of the time we don't have too much shipping, though, that's out of pocket, unless you make a mistake. Now, the signing companies pay for the shipping, but if you make a mistake, for example, and now the shipping cost is on you because you got to get it there next day, yeah, you're going to eat that on the front end. But again, that's taxable on the back end, a tax deduction. Okay. Let's go to number 16, babe.
Yeah, what is it? Membership dues for professional organizations. Now, what professional organizations would you want to explain those?
Yeah, even your monthly memberships, like you're joining these different notary memberships where they charge you monthly for the rest of your natural life.
What?
I that was shade, y'all. That was shade. Because
A
I
little
believe in
salty about
teaching
that.
you. That was shade. I
Yeah,
feel bad for y'all that are
yeah,
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Some of you are paying for things that I'm all about building businesses over here. We teach in such a way where you grow your business, you tell somebody else, hey, check out Notary Educators. That's how we grow, not by charging you $40 for the rest of your life. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go on no tangent on that. But that would be one example. If you're paying a membership due somewhere, it's a tax write-off again. Also, even membership for NNA, because we do have the NNA membership. Now, this year, Jeffrey did not renew his, not because he didn't want to, because I didn't want him to. I have one membership, so I was like, I'll be doggone if they're going to get $130 out of our house every month. It's not monthly, it's annually.
It's annual, yeah.
But
Annual.
still, okay. So we pay the NNA. I got a membership. So if I need to make a phone call, which we hardly ever use it, that's another reason why I was like, no. So yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be
Yeah,
something else you can consider writing off. Now,
yeah.
I do think that is a good membership. I'll be honest with you. When you're first starting out, you have a lot of questions, even if not just starting out. It's $69 per year, I think it is. And you can call them if you need help anytime they're on California time, Pacific time. So that gives you a lot of access to getting help in these notary streets. If you don't know how to notarize or get stuck on a certain thing, they really good at the law and stuff. So yeah, you might want to do that. You could write that off. Okay, next, babe.
Next one is the software and technology expenses for business use. So that would be obviously your notary gadget. If you're using QuickBooks or Zero,
Canva,
Canva, all of those
Plannable.
things, Plannable. I
If
use
you're
it.
doing any editing,
Yeah, I use it for my editing software that I use for her videos. I anything connected with that. I keep track of those, and those are pulled again in via Zero and that's on our business account because it's a business expense. Because a lot of these things, as you're going along, and depending on what you're doing specifically in your business, you'll find out that certain things you have to pay for on a regular basis, and you want to keep track of those and include it, particularly when it comes to software. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it's a lot of little things that we don't even think about. If you're doing Google My Business ads, that's something else, guys. You can write off on your taxes if you're running ads. That's your marketing budget. Okay.
Yeah, let me answer real quick here. I seen Miss Terry was asking, what is Zero comparable to? It's comparable to like QuickBooks. So and that's for your keep track of your taxes. Now I looked at both. I looked at QuickBooks and Zero. But I found for me that zero, and it's actually spelled. I think is it with a
It's with an
X?
X,
Yeah,
right?
it's an X. Yeah, it's XERO. So
Mm-hmm.
Miss Terry, so you look that up, and I found that to be a little bit more user friendly, in opposed to QuickBooks. Now, and then you can look it up. I was I'm Googling and YouTubing this and YouTubing that, and I played with both, and then eventually I went on and paid for Zero,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
turned out to be a
Even
lot.
I can use it, y'all.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very user friendly, and some will say when it comes to QuickBooks, some will admit that it's a little what's the word,
Detailed,
detailed and kind of hard to
complicated.
understand, complicated. But if you know what you're doing, and you know what you're doing, but
We were even gonna pay for a session, remember?
yeah, that's right. We were going to pay for a session, but I was like, well, no, this one over here, Zero seems to work better, and our tax person uses Zero. So it made a lot of sense. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the year or during the course of the year, you can print off your profit and loss. You can see your expenses. You'll know what you're spending your money on when it comes to your taxes, or your food, transportation, all of those things. If you're breaking it down, you're telling as it's coming in, it's being funneled in from the bank. If you're accurate what's coming in, then it will make it so much easier. You'll be able to know where your money's going. Yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing is depreciation of equipment, computer, printer, scanner, etc. You want to cover that?
You can. You know all about those scanners and how many scanners we have, and all of that is tax.
Yeah, keep track of.
I think they do a percentage of that, but you could talk about how many scanners we have and maybe what they're used for really quick, so they can see what they may need. We did a full video on this. I don't know if we released it or not yet.
I think we did. We have 2 scanners, and you're certain things you don't know until you're actually using it, and then you realize there's something better. But at that point, it was like I already had the first one already, and I was actually watching. I was watching the first scanner that I had. I happened to be watching another notary on YouTube, and he was saying something to the effect that he was playing around with the settings, because the idea is that when you're on a job, you want to be able to scan that and be in and out. You don't want to be there forever. So anyway, keep track of your scanners. We have 2. We've got printers. We got a brother printer. It's a dual tray printer. Keep track of your ink, or your toner rather. Actually, I have 2 printers. I have a color and ink printer, and sometimes I use that depending on what it's for. Like when we have clients that come to the home base, then I can print. We'll charge the client to print something, and it's going to be in color, or something needs to be scanned and sent back off. So of course, then that's when we would charge the client. If they say, well, look, can you print something off? I'll print it off on the Brothers, which is the laser printer. I'll print that. They'll finish signing whatever needs to be signed, and if it needs to be scanned back out or what have you, then I have a pretty fast scanner. An Epson. Is this Epson? Yeah, it's Epson, and I can scan that, email it, and all of those things, all of those different functions. When you're doing ink, anything like that, that's going to be tax deducted. I'm keeping track of all of those things. So,
and again, we're not just buying equipment because we can write it off on our taxes.
Yeah. Buy what you need as you're going along. When you find that you need something, because you need it, not just like it's a one-off, because you can scan something with an app on your phone. If it's just a one-off, then fine. But if it's something that you're realizing, particularly if you're if you're doing loan signing and you're out there in the notary streets, you got to be able to handle your business. If you have a laptop, so I bring when I know that we're doing those type of jobs, then I have my laptop, I have my scanner. Then I got to get a good internet connection. We stop over at different places, whether it's UPS or wherever we're going to send it off at. But the idea is that you're not just buying stuff just to say that you're buying it. Buy it because you need it. And then when you need it, then you have it. But then you also want to be compensated. And that's the reason why you keep track of that for your taxes. Anything else, Kim?
No, if you all come up with something that we're...
You still there?
Miss here in just a moment. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I got a bonus tip for you guys from one of our notaries, fellow notaries here. So this is great. We'll get to that one last. Can you hit number 19 and 20?
Yeah, number 19 and 20, charitable donations made in the course of business activity, and then miscellaneous business expenses that are reasonable and necessary. So that's where you're gonna have to be you got to think about what's reasonable if you got some repair done to your home office, those things need to be, brought into, keep track of that. Now, Mr. Renda, she says, when you talk about these last few items, it is as if you bought it in the actual year. They do not have depreciation value like your vehicle. They do not have a depreciation value like your vehicle may, correct or no? You want to answer that, Kim?
Yeah, let's push back and have you check with your tax professional, because according to my little list here, it does use the word depreciation. So I believe, like you, it may be part of it every year you can do. I don't think you can go out and just say I spent $1,000. So it might be a portion of it. So yeah, that one we're gonna push back because we are not tax professionals. And as far as things going on in the I think our internet connection is crazy. Are we back?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Jeff? Okay. I think we went out for a second. But yeah, so I don't hear a lot of charitable things going on. But even like if you donated, like you're going to a conference maybe, because I have heard of this, and you donate for an extra person to go, little fees like that, and anything you give regarding to your business is going to probably be a tax deduction. So let's hit this bonus tip from Van She Goes, which is really great. Your remote online notary fees. I didn't think about that one, because we can't do remote online notary in Georgia. Okay, I guess we're back. Sorry about that little disconnect, y'all. So probably everybody's using the internet or something. I don't know. But anyway, so the bonus tip was from Van She Goes, which is we froze. I thought so. Thank you, Dorinda. We're back. The bonus tip was number 21, and that came from our fellow notary, Van She Goes, and that is remote online notary fees. Okay, so if you're paying those platform fees, training for remote online notary, anything associated with that, your equipment, all of that too can be a tax write-off. That's an excellent one, girl. Get it, Van. So let's go over them all really quick. So I'm going to go down really so we can get your comments. So we got office expenses, business-related travel, advertising, home office, continuing education, fees for your state, your notary journal, liability insurance, telephone and internet, auto expenses, mileage, gas, etc., health insurance premiums if you're self-employed, retirement, accounting. And under health insurance, guys, don't forget, like when you have to pay self-pay on a procedure or out of pocket for something, you might want to check and make sure those also your medications. You want to keep receipts for all of that. Did you guys know so much was involved in taxes? Put a 1 if you knew all of this, or a 2 if you did not. A 1 if you already knew all of this, and a 2 if you did not. We're going to check it in a minute. Retirement planning, accounting and bookkeeping fees, legal fees, postage and shipping, membership dues, software, technology, equipment, charitable donations, miscellaneous business expenses, and then last but not least, from our notary community here, remote online notary expenses. Let's get it. So let's see.
Did 1 or 2? You said 1 or 2, or what was it?
2 that you did not know about all this, and 1
if you
knew. Gotcha. 1 if you knew about all these different deductions, and then 2 if you did not. Let's see. A lot of you are saying you already knew. Very good. Very good. Very good. And we got a few that did not know. So as you can see, being a business owner is, kind of half and half. Being a business owner is very detailed. So we're going to get your comments now. Let's see what we got out here. We got a few greetings. We're going to say hello to everybody watching and those on the replay. Dorinda asks at 621, is there a difference between Notary Assist and Notary Gadget? Any major differences? I've never used Notary Assist, so I can't even speak to it. In the notary community, though, normally people use either one, Notary Assist or Notary Gadget. So I've always used Notary Gadget. I've never even tried Notary Assist.
Now you should be. You might be able to. with notary, I'm sorry, I didn't even cut you off. When it comes to the notary gadget, unless it's changed. When we first did it, they gave you, I don't know, maybe your first 20 or 30 jobs the opportunity
It's only
to use it.
you could try.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the first 15. Yep.
Oh, first 15. Okay. All right. All right. So yeah, so you
Trial
can only,
period.
yeah, yeah, so each one of those, I would imagine that they give you a trial period so that you can see what works best for you when it comes to those notary programs.
Okay, then at 6:30 we have notarizing for you. I'm thinking about adding tax preparation to my business. The IRS has free courses that teach you and allows you to volunteer to get hands-on experience. I think that's an excellent, excellent, excellent idea. When I took that immigration training recently, that was one of the things he said is a natural fit for notaries. And you already have your clientele also. So, I would be cautious about that, doing my clients' taxes and being a notary. And, you just always want to be a little careful when you start commingling and doing different services for somebody. And you the one person they go to for everything, just always be cautious. But yeah, I think tax preparation is an excellent. I thought about it for 2 seconds myself, but I just don't even feel like it. I love numbers. I took accounting in school. I love numbers. I did banking for 20 years, so I could easily probably do it, but I just don't want the headache or even the liability, quite frankly, because I know what we went through with our taxes. And Jeffrey and I were
Hmm.
very kind and loving about it, but the average person, you start messing up their taxes and stuff, you better know what you're doing. Let's see. Terry says she appreciates everything. We appreciate you guys too. Thank you
Yeah, thank you
everybody
so
for
much.
joining us tonight. And let's see what else Dorinda says. When you talk about these, okay, I think we got that one. Let's see.
Hmm.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that internet, y'all. We had a few little issues. It is our pleasure. Thank you both so much. Always good to review. Yes. Okay, Cash App. Oh, I'm glad Jessica T mentioned this. I'm going to read your comment in just a second. But even those fees that you pay for Cash App, not PayPal is free, but Cash App, what other one we pay for? The credit card processing, all of that kind of stuff. If you're paying those fees for your client, like we pay those fees for our client right now, we don't charge that to our client. If they charge with their card, we don't charge them an extra 3% or whatever. Those fees, you need to remember that at tax time so you can write them off. Okay. What is it? Jessica says Cash App allows self-filing. Do you recommend it? No, I do not. I would not try that, Jessica. I get those alerts all day too. I just don't know about that. Before we started hiring someone to do our taxes, we used, and thank you for that tip, Jessica T. When you mentioned Cash App, it reminded me about the fees. Yeah, before we started hiring someone, we used TurboTax because we had a very
TurboTax, yeah.
basic return. TurboTax because it was another one. One of them the internet went out again. One of those cell phones. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, we used another one, something like TurboTax. Do you all have the link to the free IRS training? No, I don't. If you want to put the link in there, whoever mentioned that free IRS training, can you put it in there, please? The link for the free IRS training. Did we go out? Okay. Yeah, if you could put the link in there. And if not, Jessica, just go ahead and Google IRS tax training. Make sure your website ends in a .gov because that way .gov, that way you'll know it. Start wrapping up. Is now 67 cents per mile. Yes, and what the IRS allows, they cannot just charge a travel fee. Like we could charge a travel fee, but ours is not per mile. So I like that. 0.67 cents right now is for 2024. Okay. And you can find out that rate, just FYI, at irs.gov. Okay. Anything else before we wrap up? I do want to let you know all of the courses are on sale, self-paced, 60% off right now. Coupon code is WIN24, WIN 2024. Both Angela and Alexis have spaces in their classes that are coming up. And check out the book, Start Your Notary Business, if you're just getting started, over at notaryeducatorsllc.com. And we have a lot of free resources for you now. We do have a link for your EIN number over there. We do have a link for you to find out more about LLCs under free resources. We also added a free notary business, like step-by-step guide. It's a little planner that Alexis created. It is really nice. So with quite a few free resources over there. And also check out my new YouTube channel, Business Life with Kimmi, where we talk about all things business, social media, how to start. We're going to be talking about YouTube, ebooks, how to do all of that, all the different things that I have did to build out my social media footprint. That's what I'm teaching over there. So that channel is actually my other baby, because I love talking all things business. So we talk about everything over there. Okay. So guys, we are going to wrap it up because we have a 7 o'clock appointment, but we definitely wanted to make sure we did this. And I'm so glad we did. This was an amazing live, Jeffrey.
Excellent. Very good to see everybody this evening. Really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you for the support. And thank you, Jeffrey, for what you do to the ladies, Angela, Alexis, to our amazing community here, guys. Notary educators, you guys rock. And thank you for rocking with us. Okay. So until next time, guys, we are going to say good night. We will see you sometime. What's today? Monday? I'll 15th. See you guys probably on Wednesday or so. I'll be back this week, though.
Okay.
All right. So until next time, guys, see you around.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Thank you again for listening to the Notary Life with Kimmi podcast. We would love to be a part of your notary journey. Please visit us at notaryeducatorsllc.com for all of your notary training needs. Also, please feel free to join the Notary Life with Kimmi YouTube channel, where Kimmi has over 400 videos that will help you to grow and build a successful notary business. Until the next episode, we wish you much success on your journey. Bye.